It was a day of national tragedy. My colleagues in the newsroom and I kept looking at the ticking clock and scrambled to put together a comprehensive news bulletin. We had the duty to tell the story that brought tears to millions of people across Ghana. Our own emotions were suspended as we took reports from other journalists in the national capital, Accra. The breakfast show team, led by anchor Bob Gardner, rushed into the newsroom and he addressed me directly. "Hey, Philip, it's time for the news." The concern was palpable in his voice. I didn't even try to glance at him as I looked laser straight at a printer that was malfunctioning exactly at the time that I needed it to spit out pages of news that we had written. The tension in the air felt thick. Bob Gardner walked back into the studio without another word. Just then, I noticed I might not have been breathing for what seemed like a whole minute. In the middle of the storm, suddenly, the radio set we use in monitoring our own station started blaring a sweet, soothing, and rhythmic music. I was in a tunnel and couldn't see the light, and whenever I looked up, I couldn't see the sky. As the song bounced, A4 sheets of paper started flying out of the printer. It's the news I had to read as the anchor of the major bulletin that morning, the 10th of May, 2001. I reached for the script and rushed into the studio, which was just about 10 meters from the newsroom. Following closely on my heels was Erica Hianyo, who brought along a Sony Mini disc that had several voiceovers that we would be playing as part of the news. Bob Gardner, who was sitting in the morning show host's chair, was relieved to see me. It was already past the hour for the news, adding to the tension and the rush for us all. Over the years, we developed a studio body language with which we could establish readiness for going live on air with the news. Our eyes locked for a moment, and we both knew we were ready to roll. Erica Hianyo was standing behind Bob Gardner, ramping up his last-minute technical readiness to play all the voiceovers on cue. The upbeat song by R. Kelly continued playing, soon to be faded out for the live news presentation. But then I climbed the hills and saw the mountains, and I hollered up help because I was lost. Then I felt a strong wind, heard a small voice saying, "The storm is over." The storm on this gloomy morning was nowhere near over, and optimism was needed badly. Sky music culture was built to reflect the mood of the community most of the time, and on this tragic morning, the choice of music, its tempo, and the lyrics were apt. Like skydivers, it was time to jump out of the plane at high altitude, hoping our parachutes would work. Check with your time. It's exactly 4 minutes past 8. This is the Jolly Breakfast Show on Sky 93.5 FM, and Phillip Nyakpo is all set with the major news bulletin, said Bob, live on air. And just then, he turned on his microphone and said, "Good morning, Philip." "Good morning, Bob," I responded. From there, I was on my own, and like I did every morning, I launched into the news, reading it with as much professionalism, emotion, and seriousness as the content called for. The death toll from yesterday's violent clashes between the supporters of Accra Hearts of Oak and Kotoko Football Club has risen to 125. The major hospitals in Accra are inundated with dead bodies and several hundreds of injured people. Meanwhile, President Kufuor has called an emergency cabinet meeting this morning to discuss the tragedy. Miss Elizabeth Ohening, the president's spokesperson who was at the 37 Military Hospital, spoke to reporters. That was me reading the news back then, and this was followed by Elizabeth Ohening's short statement on behalf of President Kufuor. Next, we played a recorded live link-up with Stan Dogbe of Joy FM, who was working closely with Komla Dumont in reporting the tragedy. The rest of Bob Gardner's Jolly Breakfast Show was all about the circumstances leading to the clashes that resulted in intense grief for the entire nation. The newsroom and the morning show became amalgamated in delivering up-to-the-minute news and information as millions wondered how 126 people could lose their lives overnight during a game of football.